Live happy and healthy, my brother. Live happy and healthy, my sister.
You need to get smart. Are you aware that you become what you think? Tamayo Watanabe successfully climbed the summit of Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, when she was 63 years old. She became the oldest woman to have done so. She didn't stop there. She continued to run in the next 10 years until she beat her own best record at the age of 73 years. Nelson Mandela, after spending almost 30 years in jail, became South Africa's first black president at the age of 75 years. He won the Nobel Peace Prize within the same year. Gladys Burial ran her first marathon when she was 86 years old. She completed 5 marathons in her lifetime. At the age of 92 years, she set another record when she ran for over 9 hours in her last marathon. When you think about older life, what comes to your mind? Do you see opportunities or challenges? Do you look forward to older life with hope, or do you dread getting old? Do you realize that your thinking patterns become your reality? The World Health Organization defines ageism as stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination towards others or oneself based on age. Stereotypes have to do with how we think. These are fixed views that are held by many people but do not adequately represent the true situation. For example, people commonly think of older persons as weak, frail, incompetent, ignorant, a burden, etc., etc. Prejudices refer to how we feel. These are unfair feelings, often based on incomplete information. I often hear people say regarding older persons, let them get out. They've had their time. They are clueless. Discrimination has to do with how we act. These are unjust behaviors towards older persons based on their age. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12, some of the changes in older life are lucidly described in phrases and metaphors that I would briefly want to run over. The preacher talks about this stage in life as being difficult days when the older person may find him or herself saying, I have no pleasure. When the sun and the light, the moon and the stars are darkened. When the clouds return after the rain. This reminds me of one of the big D's in geriatrics, which is depression. The keepers of the house tremble. You may be familiar with older persons who have shaky hands. The strong men bow down, referring to the stooping posture of many old, or let's say some older persons. The grinders cease because they are few. Guess what? This refers to the teeth. A variable number of teeth may be lost by older persons. Those that look through the windows grow dim. Visual problems, glaucoma, cataracts, etc. The doors are shut in the streets. Constipation. The sound of grinding is low. Hearing difficulties. One rises up at the sound of a bird. Light sleep. Easily roused at the slightest noise. Difficulty getting back to sleep. All the daughters of music are brought low. Voice changes. The ability to enjoy or produce music is no longer as good, or maybe no longer as good as it used to be. Fear of heights, fear of terrors in the way, constricting the social space. Older persons who used to be very active in the social space may just restrict their movement because of fears of traffic, fears of falling, fears of even discrimination and poor treatment. The almond tree blossoms, referring to the change in color of the hair from what it used to be to gray or white or golden as mine now is. The grasshopper is a burden, referring to weakness, which is one of the cardinal features of frailty. Desire fails, loss of libido, loss of sexual desire. And then the preacher rounds up by talking about end of life issues as man prepares to go to his eternal home. If we stay on this chapter, you will realize that a lot of stereotypes regarding aging can be found here. Thoughts that are not generalizable but are widely believed about older persons. You will also agree with me that not all older persons exhibit these patterns. Not all older persons experience depression. Not all older persons have tremors. Some persons are in their 90s and they still have a straight frame, whereas we have some young persons who slouch. Some persons are in their hundreds and they haven't lost a single tooth, whereas we have some teenagers who have lost 3 or 4. Some persons are in their 70s, 80s, 90s. They don't require glasses, whereas we have some people who are less than 10 wearing glasses. The list is endless. It is inappropriate, it is wrong to believe that aging is a homogeneous experience. The experience of aging varies from person to person, and that is why we are calling everyone out to take a look and ask yourself, am I guilty of ageism? Am I guilty of thinking about older persons in a particular way that is uncomplimentary because their age is a certain number? Are you guilty of having feelings towards older persons that are unfair based on incomplete information? Do you exhibit unjust behaviors towards older persons just because they are 60 years and above? In your reflections, I'd like to challenge you to think even further. If your 72-year-old father or mother approached you to inform you that they are interested in getting trained and certified in artificial intelligence, how would you respond? How would you respond if your 92-year-old mother or father asked you to take them out to watch a match at the stadium? Your response is a mirror of whether you have been guilty of stereotypes, prejudices, or discrimination towards older persons. Job chapter 12, verse 12 says, "Wisdom is with the aged, and with length of days is understanding. Psalm 92 verses 12 to 14 say, "The righteous will flourish like a palm tree and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. In old age, they will still bear fruit. Healthy and green they will remain." This speaks to the potential for older persons to live long and remain happy, full of energy and vitality throughout their lifetime. Youth is fleeting. Ecclesiastes 11 verses 9 to 10 say, "Let your heart cheer you. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes, but know that God will bring you into judgment. For childhood and youth are vanity." Indeed, youth is fleeting. I'm preparing this podcast in the living room where I sat 41 years ago, preparing to go to university. My youngest child is almost in university, and I'm here. It's just like yesterday. Yesterday, I was that youth. Today, I am almost that older person. Your chronological age is the age you wear your last birthday. It should not be the basis on which you are judged. It shouldn't be the basis on which you are mistreated. Your chronological age is not necessarily the same as your biological age. Your biological age refers to how well you are aging. How many 34, 35-year-old persons you know can run a marathon? You need to get smart. You need to rethink how you think about aging, how you feel about older persons, and how you act towards older persons. Remember, you will not always be a teenager, a youth, or a younger adult. If you don't die prematurely, as we pray you don't, you will certainly have the privilege of living to experience the beauties and the challenges of aging. I invite you, therefore, to join the movement. It is a movement to create intergenerational solidarity for successful aging across the life course. You will hear more about this in the coming weeks by God's grace. In the meantime, I want to thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed, I would very much appreciate your subscribing to the channel. And I would ask that you kindly share and hit the notification bell so that you stay updated on all our videos. For more resources, please go to our website, which is aituaje.com, aituaje.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Music. We value your feedback, and I would appreciate it if you would leave a comment after watching each of our videos.
Live happy and healthy, my brother. Live happy and healthy, my sister.